This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles, on the Rockstar Radio Network. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and the Book Shepherd on the Rockstar Radio Network. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Oh, well, top of the day to everyone. What's very cool is that in my business with authors and publishing, I get to meet a lot of amazing people, amazing authors, amazing service providers, amazing pros out there. And the good news is we get to share them with everybody on the live show as well as those who listen on downloading and podcasts. So let me give you the number real quick because you're going to want to, if a phone is available, to tap into it. The number is 866-404-6519. That's 866-404-6519 because today on Your Guide to Book Publishing, I have the amazing, unbelievable depth information, the Publicity Hound, Joan Stewart's with me. Now, Joan has shown and is showing authors and publishers how to use free, and that's F-R-E-E, free publicity from both traditional and social media to establish the credibility, to enhance your reputation, to position yourself as an expert. And in the bottom line is this, is you get to sell more books, lots more books, and any other products that you come up with. You can promote a cause or a favorite issue. You can position yourself or your company as an employer of choice if that's where your expertise is going. She's a former newspaper editor, so the red ink pen is out. She's accepted and rejected thousands, and I'm telling you, thousands of story ideas, and she knows exactly what the media wants and how to hook them and how to deliver it to them. She is the master, she's the mistress of pitching. She's the author of 4 ebooks herself on publicity and is quoted in more than 60 books on marketing, public relations, and small business. Joan's also one of my very favorite bloggers. She has a terrific e-zine, and she publishes the Publicity Hound Tips of the Week. And if you like dogs, you always want to go there just to see what her latest hoot about pooches is. It can come to your email box every Tuesday and Saturday. So all you need to do is to go to www.publicityhound.com, mark the box, put in your email, and you'll get something from her shortly. And with that, Joan, welcome to Your Guide to Book Publishing.
Oh, Judith, it's great to be here. I have to ask you, how are you holding up under this heat?
And the fires.
And the fires, yes.
And the fires. Well, we're doing fine. Growing up on the beach, Joan, that I love the sun. I just don't have toes to put my, sand to put my toes in and the water there. But I'm doing fine with heat. I do well with the heat. And actually, I had clients in all afternoon, and even though it's 90 plus degrees out there, we were out in my lower patio working without a problem. We just need some, ice cold peach iced tea, and we're terrific.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the grass is crunching under my feet here in what's typically, cooler Wisconsin, and usually we've got, plush green grass this time of year, but it's brown and it's crunching under my feet. So
it's brittle. It's brittle out there, and we're surrounded by fires. I mean, we're okay certainly in my region here, but in one of the layout people that we use for several of our books, and I was talking to her while we worked on another project, and she said she can walk out her front door and see flames not far in the Boulder area. And I said, so why are you home? But they stay to protect their stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for asking. And I should also tell our listeners, Joan was the star. She was the star at last year's in 2011, the Author You Extravaganza, and she's coming back for 2013. so that you might want to remember those dates, May 3rd through 5th. And Joan really delivered just off the charts information about Twitter and all the social media. And we're going to get into some of that today anyway on that. But why don't we just kick off some of the things to bring us up to date on what's happened in a year and a half, just a little bit over a year, in all the publicity and social media since you and I last connected. Just a year is a long time in that arena.
Yeah, it sure is. And I think in terms of traditional media, we are seeing fewer traditional media outlets than we saw about a year and a couple months ago when I last spoke at your event. And I don't know how many exactly, but, hardly a day goes by when you don't see news of some newspaper or some group of newspapers, that have folded. And, that's the way. And magazines, too, a lot of special interest magazines that serve these very, very narrow niches. They just can't, they can't hold it together in terms of advertising dollars in circulation, and they've just been closing up shop, and it's a tough road. So thank goodness for social media. On the social media front, let me tick off a couple of things, and Judith, you're on top of all of this, so this will not come as news to you. But I read, a couple weeks ago, that sales of ebooks finally have surpassed sales of hardcover books and paperbacks. Mm-hmm. And that
not paperbacks.
Is it just hardcover?
Yeah, it is. Ebooks are much greater than mass market, which are the smaller ones, and those are they're kind of going away too, because you're seeing the mass market now basically is morphed into a regular softback book. But the softback books still outsell all of them.
Huh. Interesting. And then, of course, the shiny new bauble in the social media world is Pinterest, and it keeps getting hotter every day. It's the number 3 social media site on the planet. And I saw an interesting study, this was a couple of weeks ago, that came out that shows that people on Pinterest who click through those pretty pictures tend to buy more stuff than people who would click the same pretty pictures on Facebook.
And so maybe, Joan, you can help with some strategies on how to post it. I will share it with our audience. I am finally, Author U has been on Pinterest for quite a while, but I finally, Judith Briles, I think I have 8 boards up on Pinterest.
Well, that's terrific. You probably have more than
I'm finally
I do.
there. Yeah, and I've got, I'm putting books I love and books I recommend on that, along as, great quotes. And I have, me, I have a quirky, off-the-wall sense of humor. So if you want to see how my brain works, sometimes you want to go to my Pinterest board. It's just Judith Briles and see what's going on.
Yeah, well, that's terrific. Yeah, Pinterest is really, really hot, and it's fun. There was a columnist for one of the, I think it was the Washington Post, who called Pinterest digital crack for women.
Oh, I believe that.
That's how she described Pinterest when she first got on it. She couldn't get away.
Well, it's addicting. There's no question. It is addicting on it, and you go around, and it's kind of fun. And I would encourage our listeners in using it. Never one get on it, but I would encourage our listeners to really think about getting. What's your favorite thing in boards? Like I have one on recipes because I like to cook, so I'll start adding to that. But what you can drive people to do things and make sure that you include dialogue about why you love this recipe, or why you love this book. I know for our Author U members, a lot of our people just won big awards. Big awards, Joan. Very exciting. And I put that up there because I cross promote them all the time, as you know.
Right. And you mentioned something that I want to play off of with a tip. You said to write why you love it. That's really important, that don't just pin a photo. Write in the description using keywords that the search engines can find. That's real important when you write your descriptions out.
Oh, but great advice. So know your keywords, because you're doing this to promote yourself too. Know your keywords.
And I can't remember off the top of my head, Judith, how long the descriptions are, but they're pretty long, if I remember correctly. And so use them. Use that real estate and fill it with keywords. You don't want to, what do they call it? You don't want to stuff keywords in there. You don't want to make it look artificial. But, many of the people listening to this, they're all authors. They know how to write. They know how to put words together and move them around and change them and make them sound good. So use those keywords. And then finally, the other thing I wanted to mention was Facebook. Oh, man, Facebook is changing constantly. And I don't know if you saw it, I wrote in my blog and my newsletter this week that the little children who work at Facebook
yes.
Did you see it? They little children who work at Facebook introduced this they changed everybody's email addresses. So instead of jstewart@publicityhound.com, I'm now jstewart@facebook.com. And they never told anybody. And that they really need some serious adult supervision over there. But the good news is you can change it back to your older email address if you just go on where your profile is and just look for your email, then go over to the right side and click on the little edit thing, and then just for your Facebook email, just put hide from timeline, and it'll go away.
All right, so Facebook, so for our listeners, Facebook did the children, maybe they need to call it BB, butt book, because they need to get kicked in the butt every once in a while.
It's like a big sandbox over there, and they don't announce these changes, for the timeline they did. But, for the email, that's an important thing that a lot of people would want to know about. So my advice for Facebook is I have a Google alert set up for Facebook.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And then that's how I know all the new stuff that's happening on Facebook. And, recently a lot of it's been for the IPO, when they went public, and that stuff I really didn't care about. But if there's something going on with Facebook, you'll see it there in your Google alert, and get used to the fact of things changing quickly. I saw some advice on a blog that I thought was just excellent, and the blogger was, and I want to give her credit.
All right, Joan, hold on to that thought, because we're going to come back with a break, and I want to get back into that and then touch back on Facebook again. This is Judith Briles. My guest is the amazing publicity hound, Joan Stewart. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Change the way you publish online. WaveCloud is a new forum for authors to manage all their books' information in one place from start to finish, including pricing and listing summary. To learn more or sign up for email updates, visit wavecloud.com.
Every picture tells a story. And it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, when we went to break, we left Joan hanging in the air about blogging and a blogger tip that we were talking about. First of all, we did our Facebook and their giant screw-up that they did with changing, really stripping you of your regular email address. So if someone wants to contact you, they can just, however they do it, they've got that information there, and they change it to Facebook. And so Joan went through the steps on how to do that. And we're going to take those and we'll republish them in the AuthorU e-zine, the resource that'll be available about a week on the AuthorU.org website. So you can go to that and find it under tips. Or you can go to Joan's website, the publicityhound.com, and look at her archives and find it there. So, Joan, what was it that we were just talking about blogging?
I can't remember, but I have, Judith, a super good blogging tip for your authors. I was just writing this blog post, as a matter of fact, when you called me, and I should probably announce it, let my blog do it first, but I'm going to share it with your people because it's a fabulous tip. If any of you are blogging about public relations, social media, technology, automotive, books, entertainment, fashion and beauty, food and recipes, health and wellness, sports, travel and leisure, government and politics, sustainability, or any trends plus news, go over to the Business to Community blog. That would be business, the numeral 2, community.com, and apply to be one of their contributors. They started scraping my blog posts, this was several months ago, and I really never paid much attention to them, but I went on there today just to sort of look around to see what's going on over there, and I've got more than 100 blog posts over there, and they have a gazillion contributors. They get a ton of traffic, and they also have won lots of blog awards, and people are starting to look at them as a really significant place to post content to get a lot of attention. And I often have blog posts over there that generate more comments than the blog posts at my own blog. And so if they accept you as a contributor, you're going to be in good company. So it's business, numeral 2, community.com, and someplace over there you'll see, I think go down to the very bottom, and you'll see you'll see become a contributor. The link is near the bottom. And click on that and just, go ahead and tell them that they are welcome to use your stuff at their blog. It's great exposure.
Oh, that would be terrific because I'd love to see our stuff, and especially for the Book Shepherd. I think I'll switch hats here. The Book Shepherd go up because I do a really good weekly blog.
Well, you ought to be on this site, Judith. You'll be in really good company. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of great contributors. Their content is really good, and I tweet a lot of it too. And and books was one of the categories I rattled off.
Oh, and books was, and one of the things, Joan, that we had one of our members, Michelle Marchadon, wrote this wonderful book, Finding Life on the Mat, and she is a very sassy, salty, pithy writer, a good writer, and she's a yogi. She's the #1 yogi here in Colorado, and she wrote this memoir, and she got into a dialogue, kind of a feisty dialogue with someone, and the Elephant Journal heard about it, and they picked her up as a columnist. They just happen to have 800,000 followers. And,
wonderful.
And her book, we sold 3,000 copies in a month. Is that not hot?
That's pretty cool.
I was
pretty cool.
Right proud of her. Right proud of her. But that's what you're talking about. These are these kind of sites that are out there that are absolutely make sense. So...
Yeah, and I'm going to do a webinar, I think, in the future because I'm starting to get a lot of questions from people. How do you get to be a blogger for the Huffington Post? How do you get to be a blogger for Forbes.com? How do you get to write for Inc.? And a lot of these sites, like Forbes has 8 gazillion contributors, and I think I just may do a webinar on that because if you can get onto some of these sites, that's terrific exposure. It'll get you in front of audiences you could never have gotten in front of yourself.
There's no question about it, and I think that's absolutely a stellar way to do it, and it's smart, and it shows you are in that mode that you are a professional. You've got expertise, you've got something to offer, and it's part of your branding, and that's what we're trying to teach these authors. That's what you do with your publicity. It's all part of the brand with your expertise, whether it's a book, your persona, fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fill in the blank. So great, fabulous tip. I will follow up on it. I've already subscribed to it while we've been talking. So
good.
With that, and that's great. This is women. We can multitask here. All right. So let's come back to any other updates on Pinterest besides that the users I know are over 80% female. I know, Joan, I am telling my clients and our AuthorU members that you want to make sure that if you have a book that is really that is focused on the female audience, finally they're going to be your buyer and your reader. If it's got something that you can, has good visuals that go along with it, you cannot afford not to be on Pinterest.
You want to hear something cool that I'm going to do with Pinterest?
Yes.
Okay, and you authors who are writing how-to books, advice books, this would be perfect for you. And for you authors who are writing fiction, I'll bet you could do this too with little facts, historical facts that are within the fiction books that you've written. Here's what I'm doing with it. I'm going to try to explain this because it's a little bit complicated. Okay. Most people are pinning pretty pictures on Pinterest, okay? Mm-hmm. You're also seeing people pinning quotes, right?
Yes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going over to PowerPoint, and I am creating 50 vertical, or they call it portrait, but it's the portrait format, and they're going to be 50 slides, and each one is going to have a different publicity tip on it.
Oh, that's okay. Fabulous. So then you'll upload each slide into a board?
Right, but before I pin it to the board, I am going to I'm not going to pin it, I'm going to upload it to a blog post where I'm essentially writing about that tip. And most of it, Judith, is not going to be new content. It's all going to come out of my info products. So sure. let's say publicity tip number 1 is piggyback off the drought and the hot summer weather. Okay, that's all it's going to say. Publicity tip number 1, it's going to have a little squiggle. It's going to have a dark blue background with letters in white. Piggyback, tie your story idea to the weather and piggyback off the drought and get on local TV. Okay? Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a special report that I have on that topic, and I'm just going to cut and paste information, create a blog post out of it, use the slide as the image in the blog post.
Okay.
With me?
Yeah,
Then
I'm with
when
you.
I pin it to Pinterest, I'm going to link to the blog post.
So it takes it right there, and it pulls it from the blog post.
Yeah,
okay.
And here's what's really cool about it. I'm going to do 50 of those. So when people who follow me start to see publicity tip number 7, publicity tip number 23, publicity tip number 45, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go to my board to see what all the rest of the publicity tips are, because they're numbers. And that's real important. If you can drip your information out like that, I'm going to try to do one a day or one every couple of days. Whenever you have tips with a number in front of it, people are intrigued by that.
Well, so that's a great idea. And so for our listeners, our authors who are listening in, if you have created a blog or an article, or you have something within your book for like the 7 points, or the 5 top mistakes you have to avoid, instead of giving it to it all at once, do one at a time and give it each to it that draws them and number them.
Be sure to number them, because there's something magical about numbers. You know, comic book collectors, the old comic books, they all have numbers on them, and comic book collectors are fanatic about collecting the entire set of numbers. And so, and your readers might be fanatical about seeing all of your number tips.
Yeah, and let me give you how that dribbles down to children. I have a 8-year-old grandson who is deep into the heart of chapter books, and he knows all the titles and numbers by heart. And he said, you know, Grandma, I don't have number 13 and I don't have number 9. So when you're in the bookstore, pick up those. And I got it. I got that. That's all I need to remember.
You go. Perfect example.
Numbers count. Well, that's an excellent, excellent tip. All right, we have about 1 minute to go before we go to our bottom of the hour break. So any quick tip that we can go to transition into?
You mean on Pinterest or something else?
Anything in the world.
Have fun on Pinterest. Don't just promote your books. Have fun. And I need to follow my own advice, because I don't have enough fun on Pinterest. I especially don't have enough fun on Facebook. And I'm really making an effort to post more to my profile as opposed to just my business pages. And those profile pages are where you can really have fun.
If you can, you know, I have to tell you, when I come back, how I made a mistake on Facebook because I converted my profile page to a fan page, so you don't do the posting on it, and you can't follow around the way you can. All right, this is Judith Briles. When we come back, Bill Van Orsdale from WaveCloud will join us for a quick tip, 3 minutes, and then we'll move back with Joan Stewart.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Do you need postcards that make a statement? How about business cards, flyers, brochures, or NCR forms? Tuvets is the solution for all your printing needs. Providing services specially designed for authors, we deliver exceptional quality colored printing. Most important of all, we specialize in reducing your printing costs. No more waiting. No more standing in lines at your local printer. Online proofing. With our pricing tools calculator, you can get instant quotes on all your printing products, as well as shipping rates all over the United States. Just a few clicks of the mouse and you're on the way to discovering how easy and convenient online color printing should be. Contact our friendly, human account representatives. We recognize that you want answers, not voice prompts. Visit our website at www.tu-vets.com or call 1-800-894-8255 888-848-8977.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, as always, halfway through, we get to have the opportunity of one of our fabulous sponsors participate with some hot tips, and Bill Van Orsdale is back, and Bill is with WaveCloud, and he is live back from Book Expo. So what happened, Bill?
Hey, Judith. I went to Book Expo, and of course, just before that, I also went in the prior 2 days to a little session called You Publish You, which was for self-published authors, and the publisher launch was really an executive traditional publisher event. And it was very interesting. I think there are some observations and some ideas here that might help your audience. Let me start with the first one.
All right.
At You Publish You, I saw presentations both by Amazon and Kobo. Very good, very dynamic. Those two companies are beginning to make some very aggressive moves internationally. And I think that if you are bringing a book to market, you definitely should think about both of them as channels to reach customers and readers outside the United States. So I'd absolutely look into that. If you've got a book that you've got in market or you're bringing to market soon, think about the international options that Kobo and Amazon can bring to you.
So Kobo always, and Kobo and Amazon, and I have to tell you, Bill, I just said Amazon is not an option. You have to go that way. I mean, you have to be on there. You've got to have placement there.
Absolutely, and you just have to make sure that when you get your placement, that you go through the extra steps to go ahead and check off getting into those other foreign markets with the right kind of price as well.
Great advice. Okay, great advice. Okay.
And
all right.
The next thing I noticed, especially at the Book Expo America, the buzz that was going around amongst the attendees and some of the speakers was for self-published authors getting stuff to widespread print distribution, not necessarily just print on demand, but even short-run prints or printing or general distribution. There are more players popping up. I know we've heard from Brian Judd. I love Brian Judd. I think he's fantastic. But there are even more sources popping up to do that for self-publishers.
Right. You know, one of our sponsors, Total Printing Systems, does a superb job of those under 500. I mean, if you need 5 books, they do a great job. And they actually are one of these that printers still do galley prints, that people want galleys and things like that. But they do. I would, certainly talk to Total Printing Systems for short runs.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I'll sort of bring up, I spent some time talking with the Big Six publishers to talk to them about sort of their books, where their focus is, how do they feel about DRM, what are they looking at in the market to change? And there are two things that I think are interesting for us as a self-publishing community. Number one, they're beginning to change their focus, their marketing focus, away from being exclusively focused on bookstore buyers. So it used to be if you're a traditional publisher, all you cared about was to sell in. Now they're starting to focus on the reader community. They're hungry for experimentation. They want to know what's going on out there. They need to pick up those skills with understanding what's going on directly with readers. So I thought that was interesting, and it poses potentially a future challenge for the self-publishing community, but maybe some opportunities as well.
Okay, and that actually is step in and just give a one-line description of WaveCloud, Bill, because that's where WaveCloud comes in connecting the reader community with the author, right? And publisher.
Absolutely. We've got our beta site up, and as we like to say around the office, it's not quite where I want to invite all my friends and family to come look at it, but it is certainly giving you a skeleton look at where we are headed, and that is this general idea that, frankly, authors should own the relationship with their customers. That is, they should get all the email addresses, they should have the ability to recontact them, they should have the highest royalty rates possible and do better on volume and so forth. So that's definitely where we're headed, and I hope to have a lot more to say about that in a month or a month and a half. But if you want to take a look, you're welcome to go to it now.
That's great. So for our listeners, just go to WaveCloud, WaveCloud.com. Is that correct, Bill? I got that right? All right. Everyone go in and check out the beta. And are you taking emails now and collecting names? All right. Absolutely. Sign up so you know what's coming. All right, Bill, thanks for being with us.
Thanks a lot, Judith. Have a great day.
You too. All right. So, Joan, do you know about Web?
No, I don't.
Well, they are really doing a whole new prototype of really keeping a very active community. It's going to be a very sophisticated, almost like a book club. That you can come in and connecting and reaching out and putting it together. And it's interesting what he just said about the traditional publishers realizing they better get outside of the bookstores. I think that's very interesting. That's going to raise some hackles.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, what does Dan Poynter say? The worst place to sell a book is inside a bookstore?
Yeah, I think you relied on it. And when I did, I'm working on, we just revamped my my next book number 30, and we're calling it Author U, like a huge Y-O-U, and using the concept of it takes a village to create this book, and it's going to be such a visual. We're breaking all the rules of layout and all that stuff in this thing, and it's going to be 4-color throughout. It's just going to be a hoot as we do it, and going through it that it's not going to sell. It's going to be too expensive to sell in the bookstore. They're not going to bring it in. And channeling it, and one of the things we're going to put up on the board, the campus for people to see, is how I developed the platform that I did that created over $4 million in revenues by different sources, of which extraordinarily few came from a bookstore.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
So that's where it goes. All right, so let's hop back to some of the things that are going on. That you said there's a lot of questions that you get from authors, but a lot of it goes around how important it is to have a publicity campaign. And should it be, do you hire someone to go out and you pay a monthly fee and they go out and do whatever they do, or do you focus just on social media, or do you do a combination, or help us, Coach, what do we do?
Well, a lot of people want to know what's more important, is it traditional media or is it social media? And, it's not black and white. It's not like social media is white and traditional media is black. There's a real blurring of the lines. So stop and think about this. You've got journalists who work for traditional media outlets. They're all over Twitter. They've got their own Facebook pages that are connected to their company, like a local newspaper reporter here at the Milwaukee Journal. Maybe the food editor might have her own Facebook page specifically for her business, okay? Most of the vast majority of them are on LinkedIn. They're on Quora, Quora.com, looking for people who are answering questions. So if you want to get to traditional media journalists, if you want to get into maybe some of the bigger papers like the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, a lot of those reporters are on the social media sites.
So you need to be out there and make sure your descriptions are right and you're putting out good info. Is it still
And you can connect with them on the social media sites long before you pitch them.
Oh, yeah, because if they start seeing that you're putting up quality stuff, they're going to recognize your name.
Exactly.
All right. So, Joan, you said, I remember you saying that there was the ratio of, one of the webinars I sat in that you led, as well as what you said in person when you were here in Denver at the Author U Extravaganza, that it was a 15-to-1 ratio with information before something more here. Is that still there, or is that altered?
You mean before something sinks in?
Well, I think what you were saying, that you needed, people don't care where you had lunch. I think that's what makes me get all this Yelp stuff coming across. I don't care that you're at the corner of this and this.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Nobody cares what you had for lunch. Now, you can do that on Facebook's very different than Twitter, okay? You've probably got a lot more people reading your stuff on Twitter, a lot more strangers, and you've got a lot more friends, quote-unquote friends, reading your stuff on Facebook. So your friend might care about the fact that you had lunch down at the from the taco truck, in downtown, wherever you happen to live. But, on Twitter, they don't want to read that. They're out. Most people are there for helpful information and tips. And the ratio that you're talking about, the 15-to-1 ratio, you want to write 15 helpful, content-rich tweets with great information that will help people, even linking to articles that aren't your own, for every one promotional tweet that you write. You should not be promoting constantly on these sites. That's a huge turnoff.
And I actually promote. I do more promoting of other people than myself. Way over that. I'm always, when I find stuff, so it's interesting. Sometimes some of the things I see you put out, I found that article too, and I thought, do I retweet or do I just send it out? Which way do I go? So sometimes I retweet and then I go over and put the other one on Facebook.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So on that, all right. So on the traditional, so you're saying on publicity, we've got 30 seconds before we go with our final break. But on publicity, do not ignore social media, because the traditional people are on social media looking for their experts and leads in that area. Is that what I heard correctly?
You got it.
Okay, so listeners, you've got to do it. You need to get over being that phobic with all the social media and just do it. I'm Judith Briles. My guest this hour is Joan Stewart, publicityhound.com. We're going to be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Writing and reading are moving to the cloud. WaveCloud represents a whole new community for writers and readers to connect, communicate, evaluate, and share. Writers hone their craft and build their business. Readers build their favorites. Sign up for updates at wavecloud.com.
Book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems, you want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher, or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at MyBookShepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, in our segment, Joan Stewart, the Publicity Hound, is going to go over a couple of things that she really has near to dear to heart. And one is she does superb webinars. So I'm going to encourage listeners to go to her website, publicityhound.com, and check out what's coming up, as well as some of the things that she's done in the past. But one of the webinars that was very hot was on book reviews, online book reviews, what works and what doesn't work. So, Joan, what about that? What's the benefit for authors to take advantage of these? And are there some that might be a little bit better, maybe for a certain genre than others, or does anything go?
Well, there are definitely ones that are better for certain genres. What Judith is referring to are online book review sites. And the biggest one that many of you probably already know about is Goodreads. Goodreads.com has phenomenal numbers of eyeballs. Something like 7 million people are signed up there. And the cool thing about it is, regardless of what the topic of your book is, I don't care how narrow the topic is, there's a group over there that's waiting to learn more about that book topic. There are a gazillion discussion groups. You can do Q&As with your audience. You can import your blog directly into your Goodreads profile. You can answer questions. You can promote to your heart's content. But that's only one of many of these sites. And the big advantage to these sites is, Judith, remember in the old days where the only way to get a book review was to send the book to a reviewer at a newspaper or magazine? That was the only way you could get a book review? Absolutely. Well, those book review sites, guys, they're all disappearing.
Yes. Yes, they are.
As newspapers are shrinking because of low ad revenue, book review sites are one of the first ones to go right into the garbage can. But that's okay, because all the readers aren't reading USA Today. They're all over at Goodreads and many of these other book review sites. That's where the readers are. People trust and buy books based on their friends' recommendations, and these sites work just like the other social media sites do. You have people following you, you have friends, you discuss things, you recommend things, and so you need to get in front of all those readers over there. They have lots of tools that you can use. They have an entire author promotion program at Goodreads. So when you sign up, be sure to go to their author promotion program. And, you have got to have a platform. You have to have a platform created long before you want to publish. And Goodreads is a terrific place to start to build that platform.
Okay. And so any other sites that you think that might be?
Oh, gosh, there are all of them. There's booktalk.org. There's bn.com, which is Barnes & Noble's site. There's Author's Den. Let me get one for a niche audience. There's one called like Romantic Tea Like Times, rtbookreviews.com. It's just for romantic. It's for romantic fiction,
romance,
mystery.
romance.
Yeah, romance, paranormal, young adult, sci-fi, and erotica. And listen to this. They also have sensuality ratings, and they rate books according to their hotness. They have like a little scale, like the top one is called a scorcher.
Oh, my God. Well, hey, Joan, have you seen Rock of Ages yet with Tom Cruise, his new movie?
No, I haven't, but everybody's talking about it.
It's fabulous. I mean, we giggled, but wait till you see the outfit. There's the hot one. Okay, so.
Okay. I got something to do this weekend. Good. And then there's another one called Locus, LOCUS, for sci-fi authors and for fantasy. So, just do a Google search for online book review and book recommendation sites, and you'll find lots of them. And there may be one for your genre.
Well, that's perfect because that's we're going to be doing Author U will be doing their book camp, their one-day event, and we're going to do marketing with a twist. And this is really imperative, this kind of thing, because this is marketing. And my God, it's free. It's free.
Yeah, absolutely. 98% of the ones that I used are free. And it's why not? And you're not going to participate actively in 10 of them or even 8 of them or maybe not even 3 of them. But if you just find the one that's right for you where your audience has congregated and you can get through to those people, you can get in front of people who may never, ever, ever have met you any other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's just huge. To me, it's huge to take advantage of this. All right, we have a few minutes left, and what I want to do is to get back to Facebook if I can. Mm-hmm. Can you give us some examples of how authors are using Facebook to really promo their books and get them out there before they change them? Before they change them, I have to tell you,
there's an author. Oh, what the heck is her name? She wrote a book. Oh, I've got it here on my notes someplace. Let me find it. Angela Hunt. Mm-hmm. She wrote a book called 5 Miles South of Peculiar, and it's a book about some sisters. And I really don't know what the book is about, and I really don't care, but I thought it was really clever what she did. She ran a contest on Facebook because within the book, it's fiction, there's a sister, these sisters wear aprons when they cook, or there's some kind of an apron element to it. Mm-hmm. She had people send photographs of themselves in their favorite aprons and post them on Facebook, and for a chance to win a Kindle Touch. It says put on an apron and you could win a Kindle. And she did it through one of the Facebook apps that you have to use for contests. And, it's really fun. It's interactive. It gets your readers involved in doing something, not just casting a vote. Many of us, we have pretty aprons. I have a beautiful Christmas apron that I just love. And, if I were one of her followers, I would definitely have done that. Okay? Another Facebook tip for authors. It's much better to have a Facebook page than it is to create a Facebook group, because the word group, people think, oh man, it's a lot of work. I got to go in there and discuss. I got to do this, that, and the other. I got to get approved and all this. But with the page, all you need to have somebody do is just click that like button.
Just do a like.
Yeah, so if it's between, what do I do? A Facebook page or a Facebook group? I vote for the Facebook page. Yeah. And here's another tip on Facebook. There's a lot of research that's coming out. I was just reading an article about an hour before you called, and there's a lot of research that is showing that the content on Facebook that is getting the most that is getting shared the most and liked the most are photos as opposed to articles. So think photos. Take photos around your house. Take photos of your garden. When you go to events, take photos of you when you go to Judith's event. Take a picture of you standing next to Judith, you standing next to all the other speakers, you standing next to the person sitting next to you, and you put those up on Facebook, and then when you post those photos, you tag those people so they know that you have posted a photo about them. And so think photos. Videos are also really hot, but it's photos that get the most likes and shares. And also, don't be afraid to post controversial content, and don't be afraid to state your opinion on certain things. It's the opinion, the strongly worded opinion status updates that are really prompting people to comment.
Oh, well, I'm wondering what's going on with the health care and the Supreme Court thing right now.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people chit-chatting about that on there. That's something I want to stay 100 yards away from because...
Me too.
Yeah, because I have my own opinions on that, but why make angry 50% of my followers? You know what I mean? That's not why they follow me, for my opinion on healthcare. So I'm going to let other people talk about that, and I'm going to stay away from it, and I'm just going to go find some other fun stuff about publicity and social media to talk about.
Well, and there are, I have to share with you, John and I, we have a date night. We do date night. We try to do it every other week at least because of the way we work. But we just got tickets to do ABBA up at Red Rocks, which is a fabulous outdoor amphitheater here in Colorado. And so we'll do a wig and we'll be ABBA people. We'll take a picture.
Oh, fun. That's fun. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Stuff like that is really great.
All right, we have a minute to go. Any last minute tips you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, this is probably the most important tip that I have. And that is authors, the time to think about publicity and the time to build your platform is not just before your book comes out. You need to start building platform months and even years before your book comes out. So if you haven't written anything yet and you want to write something and you think that maybe that publishing date is a year and a half away because it's going to take you that long to write it and get it proofed and all that stuff, start building your platform now. It takes time to build up traction on these sites. And Judith, I can't tell you how many authors call me and after the books come out and they can't sell the books and they want publicity.
And they don't get it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Joan. Everyone, you've been listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing. We'll see you next week when we talk about virtual assistants and how to help you get out there. I'm Judith Briles.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.